EcoStreets is a pilot project to explore different ways of community engagement related to how we can better equip communities to deal with the climate crisis. So the goals are to increase community resilience to the climate crisis, to help people help themselves and the environment, and to overall promote positive action. So it's not yet another Seaspiracy type thing where you just kind of point out the impending doom, but it's focused very much on community action, on empowering people to do something about the situation that they find themselves in. It's a 1-year project funded by ACAN. And I'm the project manager. I'm an environmental scientist and also an artist. It's an explorative project, which means we really want to find out what the community needs rather than coming in there with preset ideas of what we think the community needs. Because the project has really grown out of the realization within ACAN that even though ACAN provides a lot of really valuable services in Alton and has a lot of really great groups, it's always catering to what they call the Alton 200. So always the same people, really, the ones who are already switched on, the ones who are already very knowledgeable about the environment and the climate crisis. And really is not really managing to draw in a broader segment of the community, but that's of course what we really want. So the idea came up to really do a community project where you don't come in with all these preset ideas, but where you really try to explore within one community what people really want, what people really need. And then through exploring that, create somewhat of a blueprint for similar projects in the future. So the great thing for me as a project manager is that I don't have to deliver any kind of hard outcomes because it's explorative. And at the same time, the unsettling thing for a project manager is that there is no management plan that leads me through these 12 months, because it really depends a lot on what comes out of the community, what they want me to do and what they want us to set up. And then we're going to set that up, and then we're going to kind of tweak it a lot as we go along, depending on how things go, how things are received within the community. So it's very, very open, very explorative, and very, very much dependent on input from the community as well. Just a short introduction who I am. So I wear many hats. I am a musician, so semi-professional musician with a hard rock band. I am a charity director with my own charity, which I set up during lockdown, which is a marine science communication charity called Plover Rovers. We did a project last year called Talking the Coast, which was very much also a community project in the way that the goal was to bring the marine scientific community of the UK into coastal communities and get them talking to people who actually live by the coast. So it was the same idea of kind of very flat hierarchies, very dialogue-based way of bringing environmental topics and scientific topics across to people. And I'm also a teacher and an entrepreneur. I co-run a business, which is an online language school for Latin language. And I also teach Latin online. So that these are the things I do apart from being a project manager for this project. So I have the arts, I have the humanities, and I have the natural sciences. So that is more or less what we call old Whitedown. So it's a bit of a reduced version of the Whitedown ward, with the Whitedown Oval at its center, and then roughly, so from Queen's Road up to King's Road, down Whitedown Lane, and then to the Butts. However, these are not hard borders. So we really want to invite anyone who wants to give input or be involved in the project in any way to participate. So if you live on a Kenda road, it's not like we're going to say, no, sorry, that's not within our project boundary. You can't play along. But that's roughly what we want to focus on. And the idea behind that was that, first of all, it's a ward where there are already quite a lot of people who are active with ACAN, so that helps. But also, it's very varied. You've got the big houses up on King's Road, everything down to the prefabs down by All Saints. So it's like a cut through society. So that was something we're really interested in, because we really want to do a community project that ropes in everyone, from the people who live up the hill, the folks on the hill in the big houses, down to the people who live in the lower end housing. So we thought that's a really good place to do it. The first steps, so it's still early days. I just started this position in May. So really just a couple of weeks into it now, is introducing the project to the community. Going to do this on 3 channels. The big introduction event will be a street party in the end of July. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail in a second. Then we're going to have the typical thing. We can't get away from it. There is going to be a survey. It's going to be kind of a hybrid thing where you can do it online, but we probably will also have volunteers go door to door, just so to come face to face with people and talk to them. Although it's always a bit awkward to knock on people's doors and ask them to do a survey, but it's still a very good way to start talking to people. And I'll talk a little bit about the survey in a second as well. And then we have our 2 social media channels, Facebook and Instagram, where we keep people updated about the project as well. So this is just designed to, over the next 2 months, get people to realize that something is happening and gauge their interest and what they're interested in, what they would like us to focus in within the project. Possible activities could be, but like I said, there's no plan, in the sense that there's not really a project plan, because we have to wait what the community really wants from us. But there could be things centered around rewilding. There could be things around gardening for wildlife, improving the gardens for wildlife. Although from walking around the area, I see that there's already very many gardens that are very nice for wildlife. Reducing plastic waste. There could be workshops for kids and for adults, not only always for kids, also fun stuff for adults. There could be stuff related to the arts. There could be things around saving energy, saving money. Whatever really the community asks of us, we're going to try to give them. The street party, we decided to do the project introduction with a street party because it's just something different. It's not yet another Zoom presentation like this one. It's not something where there's people sit on chairs in a community hall and someone talks to them for an hour and everyone is kind of like, okay, where's the free food? So we just wanted to make it really fun and interactive. There's going to be live music. There's going to be info stalls, games. There's going to be a little heritage project, hopefully. I'll talk about that in a second. There's going to be face painting. Kids can choose their favorite common garden invertebrate and can get those invertebrates painted on their faces. There's going to be some food, hopefully. And there's first and foremost the possibility for local people to tell us what they think is important, to share their ideas and concerns and learn more about the aim of the project. And there will be the possibility for them to tell us a little bit what their concerns are. And what they would like us to focus on. So that's going to be the street party on the green, right in the middle of everything. And hopefully after that party, everyone in the neighborhood will know that this project is happening. Then there's going to be the survey, which is basically just really to find out which topics are of special interest. This could be anything from transport to the cost of living crisis to recycling, waste management, insects, cycling, litter, energy use, wildlife, anything that they want us to focus on, or if they say like, oh, litter is actually not an issue at all in our in our ward, then we wouldn't do a lot of projects around littering because it would just not apply. So we really don't want to do things that don't apply. Also, what their visions, fears, and hopes for the future are, what kind of current views they have on the climate crisis, how empowered they currently feel to deal with the climate crisis, or if they feel it affects them at all, and how also kind of see how active they are at the moment in community groups, and if they're already using ACAN services at all. So that's going to be sort of the initial survey to have a baseline what we're dealing with at all. And what's really important here really is to bring across that people are really at the heart, and people's wishes are really at the heart of the project. It's very bottom up, it's very grassroots, and it's very much about, it's not about telling people what they should do, but it's really about working with people. It's not about coming in there and saying, oh, we're going to turn the whole of the butts into a wildflower meadow, and sorry, you can't picnic and play football on there anymore. But it's about finding the spots where people really say, oh, that's an area where I would like to see a wildflower meadow, just as an example, and not telling them where we think it should be. So it's really just very, very much depends on the input from the community. Worst case scenario would be that there's hardly any input, and then we would kind of have to come up with something to do, because it is we will pull through this project, but hopefully we will get some input from the community. And yes, like I said, over social media, we will inform about the project, we will share eco tips, but we will also seek feedback and encourage conversation. So one of the ideas with the social media channels is really that we receive feedback, and also the very much welcome constructive criticism. So we really want to hear what is working and what is not working. That's the idea of the explorative project. If something's not working, people need to tell us it's not working. So we welcome any criticism as long as it's constructive. So that's something where we hope that we can get conversation going over our social media, and hopefully nice conversations, constructive conversations, not sort of trolling conversations, which we wouldn't be so keen on wasting our time with that. And just because it's an open project doesn't mean that it's that I don't have some ideas. Of course, I have some ideas about things I would like to do. But again, if there is no interest in any of these, then I would be very open to doing other things. One thing I definitely want to do is the Heritage and Storytelling Project, because that's something I found with my other charity, with the Clover Rovers, that it's really nice to connect to the human heritage of a place. I think often environmentalists and conservationists come from a place where we see humans as a problem mainly. But I think we should see humans as partners. We should see humans as, we should really have projects that are social as much as they are environmental. So I really am very interested in the past of Alton and of this ward, and how people kind of have perceived the changes in the last couple of decades. So I want to talk to people who've lived in this place all their lives, how they remember the natural and the built environment of the past, how it has changed. I want to do a thing where it's basically a postcard from the past to the present. And I want to have these postcards put up during the street party for people to read. So I'm really interested in the human aspect of this community work as well. It's not just an environmental project. We could do something like adopt a garden, shared gardening for people who can't or who don't want to take care of their garden themselves, because maybe they just happen to buy a house that has a huge garden and they never actually wanted a huge garden. Maybe someone else doesn't have a garden and really would like to have one. So that would be a very good example for something that's a community project and a social project, as well as something that can benefit the environment. There could be something around eco-friendly driveways, with transport being the way it is. Most people, of course, own at least one car, and have a driveway, but a driveway can be a dead space with just asphalt over it, but it can also be a more alive space. So there could be a thing about making the driveways in the area more eco-friendly and increasing the area that wildlife can use without making it unusable for humans. You can still park your car there, but you can do it differently. There could be a thing where we do like a philosophy thing, and I know there was someone in the area who did this before or who wanted to do that before, where basically we encourage people to talk about philosophical questions. People often shy away from the term philosophy, but I think it's really at the core of humanity is philosophizing, which is just really thinking about things and taking different points of view. And I love this quote I chose here with "Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent." So it's again about empowering people to speak of things, and then they don't have to remain silent anymore. They can take action. They can take ownership of their surroundings just by talking about things and thinking about things and thinking outside the box. And so we could do something like that. We could do art workshops. But like I said, this is just some ideas I have. I'm happy to follow any of these up. But if there's no need for them in this community, then I'm happy to do something else as well. One thing I definitely want to do, and this is more geared towards people who already are switched on and who already are interested in getting involved, would be workshops to create peer champions. So these workshops, this is a 5 workshops. This is a framework that was developed in the United States in community work with the goal to create peer champions, which means basically take people who are already interested in the whole climate crisis narrative and give them more tools so that they can then go back into their community and work with other people in the community to improve their overall resilience to the climate crisis, and to give other people those tools to improve their environmental handprint, so their positive handprint, and decrease their environmental footprint, and generally help the community become able to adapt to the future. So these would be a series of 5 workshops. The first one is these are called framing questions. So the first one is, what does it mean for the climate to change? Talking about what does it mean for us specifically. Climate change, so like, okay, so it's going to get warmer, we're going to have nicer summers, that's great, we don't have to spend money going abroad on holiday, we can all go to Brighton and it's going to be really warm there. What does it mean for us specifically when the climate changes? So making that a bit more specific, talking about what it means for our community, what it's going to mean in the future. Second one is centered around this phrase, there's too much carbon. What does that mean? How much is too much? What can we do to reduce it on a community level? So this is basically both about bringing this huge global problem down to a more more manageable community level, and at the same time kind of reinforcing the fact that the community is also global, that it's not like there's the community and then there's global, and whatever is global doesn't affect the community, but that the community is actually part of global because we're all global. I've met quite often, I've talked to people who were quite surprised when things happened in their small little community, and they would then say things like, oh, I thought this was more of a global thing. And what they meant by that was that they thought it wasn't going to happen to them because it was happening globally, which to them was somewhere else on the globe, not where they were. So it's kind of bringing that into perspective, and always with an idea of what can we do on a community level. The third workshop would be around energy production and consumption. The fourth one would be around ecosystem health and human health, especially also mental health, something that I think with COVID, a lot of people have done a lot of thinking and exploring around this green spaces and mental health thing. And then the fifth one is centered around community action. So this fact that we're at the crossroads and that the time to act is now, and that it's really basically not a choice anymore at the moment if you want to act or not, but that any action you take or don't take is going to have an effect on the future. So that's 5 workshops I definitely want to offer to people who are already interested in getting involved and who would like to just get some more practical tools that they can bring back into the community. Then the time frame for the project, we're right now in the introduction phase, which is going to last exactly until July 23rd, which is the date of the street party. And then follows the exploration phase, which would be from July to September, which is basically when we analyze the feedback we're getting from the community. Hopefully we will be getting feedback from the community, and we explore what the community really wants from us. And then leading to the consolidation phase, where we actually offer the workshops and the activities and whatever it is that we will be doing. And then at the very end of the product will be an evaluation phase where we run an end of product survey project, very end of the, not product, project, an end of project survey, and where we're also going to just talk to people about qualitatively how they felt the project went, and we're going to write up an article which we'll hopefully publish in some journal or the other, and produce this blueprint of the project, see what worked, what didn't work, and why it worked or didn't work. So that's the rough time frame from May to May. And yeah, just to end this, again, the goals are to embed strategies within the community to reduce negative environmental impact and to maximize positive environmental and social impact, to leave people more empowered, to build on the knowledge that they acquire through this project, and to produce a project report as a blueprint for similar projects. And of course, ideally, after this 1 year is over, we will have created something within the community that will just keep running, or that will be something that will last for longer than the funding of this project. Yes, thank you very much. And I'll also stop the recording, and then I'm very happy to answer questions.